What's up, everybody? And today we're checking out US unleashed something so classified over Iran it shouldn't exist. This is by the legendary Military Show. If you haven't already, go and subscribe to the Military Show. There will be a link down below to the original video. There's a reason I love watching this channel. It's because they cite their sources in the description and they don't use AI to make the videos. God damn, that is so good. In 2026, it's nice to see a YouTube channel that does military news, that commits to not using AI and cites their sources. Holy shit. So go and subscribe to the Military Show if you haven't already. This one caught my eye. I actually didn't get recommended this one. This one caught my eye because I'm like, what are they talking about here? They're talking about the B-2 bombers? What are they talking about? So we're going to check it out. If you do want to recommend me a video to watch, the best place to do it is Instagram. Go to @originalhuman_. Follow me on Instagram. That's the best place to DM me. Or @drinkmoral, which is my business, my drinks business. Let's get people outside. That is priority number one. Before we get started, though, check out Chug, 10% off. Link down below for the best drinking vessel in the world. Handmade here in the UK by a small business. Support small businesses, guys, using sustainable materials. Can't recommend them enough. All right, let's pull this up. Let's check it out, and let's see what this is all about.
Iran felt the full force of the world-leading US military after a conflict between the two broke out in late February 2026. To overwhelm its opponent, the US deployed some of its finest assets, including decades-old stalwarts like Rockwell B-1 Lancer bombers and E-3 Sentry airborne early warning and control aircraft, as well as more modern innovations like General Atomics MQ-9 Reaper drones. But there's one other weapon that America has also allegedly unleashed on Iran that has, until now, been top secret, completely classified, to the point where even seasoned military experts weren't sure whether or not it actually existed. The Northrop Grumman RQ-180, a state-of-the-art spy drone, boasting extraordinary technical specifications and never-before-seen capacities.
We've seen this I think we've talked about this particular drone in the past.
An unmanned aerial vehicle so advanced that it could shape the face of aerial warfare for generations to come. For years, military analysts, experts, and enthusiasts have been desperate to know more about this extraordinary innovation, sifting through reams of open-source intelligence data, scanning satellite imagery for even the faintest hint or glimpse of the RQ-180 in action.
That's a
now,
bomber.
at long last, we have real pictures, hard evidence of the RQ-180 soaring stealthily across the skies of the Mediterranean, reportedly being used to support US operations in Iran. To understand why this is such a monumental milestone, it's important to take a step back and explore what the RQ-180 actually is. Because despite being an almost futuristic science fiction-like creation, the origins of this spy plane actually date back several decades.
I was going to say, like, if we're seeing this now, it means it's been around for a while. It's the stuff we don't know about that's not been seen yet, which would blow our minds.
It was in 1989, to be exact, that the US Air Force officially retired the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, a long-range, high-altitude Mach 3+ strategic reconnaissance aircraft that had been introduced to service in 1966. Having been used extensively throughout the Cold War era, the Blackbird came at last to the end of its operational lifespan, leaving the Air Force without any intelligence platform that was capable of penetrating enemy airspace guarded by advanced air defense systems. And so, work began on a new platform, one with vastly more advanced technologies and superior capabilities than its predecessor, the RQ-180. Secretly funded via the Air Force's classified budget, responsibility
The Northrop Grumman, the people that have the UFOs.
For the RQ-180 program fell into the hands of Northrop Grumman, which had beaten out competition from the other big aerospace and defense contractors in America.
These are drones, by the way, and I still have this debate where it feels weird that we're in this limbo state between manned aircraft and drones still, because eventually it'll all be drones. It'll all be drones. That's what it'll be. But at the moment, we're still seeing like Gen 6 aircraft come out that are going to be flown by humans. I still believe that spark of human creativity is so important when it comes to everything, including fighting, including wars. Having that human creativity is so important. Not knowing what to do, being unpredictable and all this other stuff is so important. It's stuff that computers can't do. And so, yes, I agree that having drones is good because it stops people from being put in dangerous positions. But I also think that there's always going to be a desire to have the human intuition and creativity within an aircraft.
And Lockheed Martin. Over the years, Northrop Grumman's engineers and developers pieced together the blueprints for this next-level aircraft, primarily working at the most top-secret bases at their disposal, including Area 51. The company, and the Air Force in general, have been incredibly secretive about the whole thing, revealing almost no details about this aircraft. Even its name, RQ-180, has never been officially acknowledged. As a result, almost everything we know about it is based on a mixture of leaks, expert estimations, speculation, and informed analysis, rather than any sort of officially published list of technical specifications. With that said, there are still several things we know. For example, the first flight of the RQ-180 is believed to have taken place in August of 2010. There's also evidence to suggest that the early production aircraft were taking to the air in the years that followed, with multiple active airframes by the mid-2010s. And even though the US military has never publicly announced or acknowledged this, many experts believe the RQ-180 officially entered operational service with the Air Force's 74th Reconnaissance Squadron at some stage prior to 2020.
So it's actually 6 years old. So this is what I'm saying, like, this is fine. This is fine. We're only just seeing this thing now. But imagine the stuff that's new. Like real new. That we haven't seen yet. We haven't even clocked onto yet. It makes you wonder what the military are actually using. The sneaky beaky stuff they're actually doing right now.
Throughout the 2020s, the world has at last started to catch little glimpses of the RQ-180 here and there. The first photograph of the plane was seemingly captured in October 2020, for example.
You sure that's not just one of the new B2... was it B2B or B2? I don't know. There's a new variant of the bomber, isn't there? I forgot which one it is. I don't know.
What was believed to be the super-secret spy drone soaring some 20,000 feet above Edwards Air Force Base.
Oh my God.
In September 2021, another image emerged, this time showing what appeared to be the RQ-180 flying stealthily and silently over the Philippines. Later that same year, a placeholder image of the RQ-180 featured in a video shared by the Air Force's Professional Arms Center of Excellence, PACE. The video also introduced a new nickname for this stealthy spy plane, the White Bat.
White Bat.
Much more recently, in March of 2026, the drone was seen yet again. The story began on...
This aircraft seen over Greece is not a B2 like the local Greek news reported. Is it not the new variant though? One second, let me, is it B2B bomber? Yeah, is it not the B2... Which is the one that doesn't have the extra divots now on the wings? One second, let me see this. Let me see this. There's a new variant of the B2 bomber, right? B2, the B-21 Raider is the one I'm thinking of. Is it not just the B-21 Raider? Let me get an image of this up. And then you might be like, oh yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, that looks like the B-21. Okay, so you've got, ignore the Chinese one, but you've got the B-2 Spirit, right? Which is the middle one. And then you've got the B-21 Raider, which is the one above it. It looks like a B-21. Does it not? I'm pretty sure that's just a B-21.
March 18, when a local Greek news website, on Larissa.gr, published pictures of what its reporters mistakenly identified as a B-2 bomber landing at the Larissa Air Base, which belongs to Greece's Hellenic Air Force, but has also been used by the US military for hosting MQ-9 Reaper drones. The same news outlet followed up with a video of the craft in action.
That's the B-21, right?
Experienced some sort of technical issue and been forced to make an emergency landing in northern central Greece, according to anonymous sources. No further details have been shared, but the
Look, that's the B-21. Surely. Am I going crazy thinking this? Okay, B-21. versus, what's it called? What's it called, this new bit of kit? I forgot what it's called. The RQ-180. RQ-180. Okay, here's a great picture. B2 at the bottom, B21 in the middle, and the RQ-180 above it. So the RQ-180 and the B21 are incredibly similar. Let me pull that up bigger. They're incredibly similar. But considering the nose on the RQ, I mean, I don't know whether this is a legit photo. It might not. I don't know. Or the RQ-170. RQ-180. I don't know whether it is the RQ-180, because the RQ-180 has like more of a pointy nose on it. That looks more like a B-21.
For hosting MQ-9 Reaper drones.
Right?
The same news outlet followed up with a video of the craft in action, explaining that it had allegedly experienced some sort of technical issue and been forced to make an emergency landing in northern central Greece, according to anonymous sources. No further details have been shared, but the emergency landing story adds up, given the fact that the plane was spotted making its landing in the middle of the day. Given the secrecy around this entire project over the years, it's highly unlikely that the US Air Force would have wanted to show off its stealthy new spy plane in broad daylight, unless it had no other option. The only thing that the Larissa reporters got wrong was the name of the craft. It was, almost without question, an RQ-180. This was effectively confirmed in the days that followed, as more and more images, including several videos captured by bemused onlookers in the area, began to hit the internet.
Let me see.
The craft, nicknamed the Lady of Larissa, which aviation experts and military analysts soon pored over every frame of the footage to learn as much as they could about this extraordinary new aircraft. Enthusiasts also began to discuss what the so-called Lady of Larissa was doing in that part of the world, especially at the time of America's ongoing operation in the Middle East. It didn't take long for these experts to put two and two together, coming to the clear and obvious conclusion that the white bat was being used in some way in Iran. Open source intelligence analyst Intel Walrus, for example, wrote on X, "This aircraft seen over Larissa, Greece, is not a B-2 like the local Greek news reported, or an RQ-170, but is in fact best imagery ever published of the RQ-180, an undisclosed low observable drone used by the USAF.
I don't know, it kind of looks like a B-21 to me. You would have to let me know in the comments what you think.
Location suggests use in the Iran conflict. Military news outlets like the War Zone have since reached out to the likes of US Air Forces in Europe, USAF, and the Pentagon for comment, but have received no responses thus far, with the military clearly unwilling to reveal any extra details about what the RQ-180 can do or why one was seen in that part of the world. But that may not matter, as the images captured by Larissa locals are already more than enough to tell us quite a lot about this unusual aircraft.
Chat,
and may even allow us to make educated, informed guesses about its applications in Iran. For example, in images taken of the underside of the drone's fuselage, we can see one of the RQ-180's most fascinating features, a pair of large...
it doesn't have the extra pointy bit on the front. To me, it looks like a B-21, but I mean... It might not be. There's better experts out there. It might be 100% right that it's this drone, this RQ-180. Because, yeah, what is this thing at the bottom?
Electro-optical sensor apertures, situated just behind the main landing gear bay.
Okay.
These two windows are clearly angled to the left and right, respectively. Behind the glass, there's likely to be a multi-spectral sensor system capable of scanning the ground below the aircraft and far beyond, all the way out to the horizon. By having one of these windows on either side, the RQ-180 could, theoretically, perform racetrack patterns in the air, many miles away from whatever target it happens to be tracking, without ever losing sight of it. It's more than likely capable of collecting enormous amounts of intelligence over vast swathes of terrain compared to almost any conventional surveillance aircraft, and it can do it all without even needing a real human pilot on board. Looking deeper, numerous experts agree that a craft of this kind would almost undoubtedly be in possession of some of the most powerful radar technologies available today, surely capable of both Ground Moving Target Indicator (GMTI) and Synthetic Aperture Radar (SAR) modes. In a nutshell, GMTI gives battle managers the clearest possible picture of the enemy's ground movements, all in real time. It's a vital technology in modern warfare, allowing forces to preempt their enemies' actions by scanning for sudden changes in force posture, size, or location.
That's cool. So I'm in this other debate as well in my head about reconnaissance and how effective aircraft reconnaissance are these days, considering how good satellite imagery is. Now, can we get live feed satellite imagery? Yeah, we probably can. The military probably can. So what's the need of putting an aircraft in the sky these days that has more of a chance of being shot down and that technology being stolen when we can just get it from satellites? Is there going to be a jump in technology where at the moment we might need that extra little bit of detail from an aircraft that might be able to just hone in a little bit more on detail, maybe get a little bit more data? But when are we just going to jump to the point where satellites can get just as much data? It's the same thing for me as the manned aircraft, non-manned aircraft. Because in my opinion, it's like, oh, well, there's a person in, you know, a reconnaissance aircraft, not necessarily a drone, but an aircraft that might be a bit more creative and be like, what's that over there? And notice something on the actual ground. I don't know. It's like going from CDs to MP3s. There was a little bit in the middle there where people were like, oh, mini disc players are going to be really good. But we ended up just going straight to MP3s, and now no one buys CDs unless it's like a vintage thing, right? So I don't know. Did you agree with me with that? Maybe I'm in the minority with that. You know me, I like Bobby Basics. If it was up to me, I think human creativity is the most important, and we should always keep humans involved with this stuff because it has an element of humanity in it. But I just don't see the world in that direction. I think the world is always constantly going for more innovation, isn't it?
Meanwhile, is used for creating high-resolution 2D or 3D images of terrain and stationary objects. These two technologies therefore complement one another quite well, with SAR providing images of the landscape and GMTI filling in the scene with pinpoint locations of enemy vehicles, personnel, and other assets.
Okay.
Both systems are capable of working in almost any conceivable atmospheric conditions and at any time of day or night. In other words, bad weather and darkness are no obstacles for this technology. And that's just one part of the RQ-180's incredible design. But before we take a closer look at the rest, if this is the kind of insight you want more of, make sure you're subscribed to The Military Show.
I'm still debating that in my head, but yeah, go subscribe to him. I was just Googling then, like, how many... Well, I couldn't find it, but how many fighter aircraft, because I feel like fighter jets are probably at the precipice of this more than anything. How many fighter aircraft are being developed that are drones compared to how many fighter aircraft are being developed that are manned? And also what the overlap is there. How many are both? Because we know, I'm pretty sure Gen 6 fighter aircraft are most likely going to be both. Like, you can be flown as a drone and as an aircraft. So where's this overlap? I know this is completely different to the subjects of this, but I think it's still actually really important because this is a reconnaissance aircraft that is a drone. It's a drone, as far as we're aware. So are we, like, what's going to happen to the B? Well, no, the B-2 is a bomber in it, but, like, what's going to happen to other reconnaissance aircraft? Are we scrapping them now? Like, I'm still, like, I'm wondering where this overlap is.
Down like this every week. When analysing the photos and videos of the RQ-180, eagle-eyed observers soon spotted another intriguing feature. The sensor apertures seen on the underside of the drone looked almost identical to those spotted on another aircraft, the scaled composites Proteus, an experimental tandem-wing high-altitude long-endurance aircraft. The Proteus was designed by legendary aerospace engineer Burt Rutan and first took flight in July of 1998. The Proteus has been used over the decades as a testing craft for various sensors and advanced systems. On top of that, Scaled Composites is a wholly owned subsidiary of Northrop Grumman. So once again, it's not too difficult to connect the dots here. It seems that the Proteus was used for experimenting with the very same sensors that have since been fitted to the RQ-180. And the discoveries don't end there. Images of the drone also show quite a clear pronounced bulge beneath the central fuselage of the aircraft, which is exactly where the main radar array would most logically be housed. While we can't be completely sure about
like a
any
UFO.
of this, unless or until the Air Force confirms or denies it, it's likely that this area contains either a rotating radar or a two-sided radar, allowing the aircraft to scan the same area, no matter which direction it's flying in. There's likely enough space in the body of the plane for additional conformal arrays or even load-bearing arrays, as well as extra equipment, from electronic warfare gear to electronic surveillance measures hardware and communications antennas to maintain a direct link with nearby ground, air or sea units. The excellent new images of the Lady of Larissa also show the broad placement of its tricycle-style landing gear, as well as the extraordinary size of its wingspan. Having the landing gear so spaced out would, in theory, help to support a larger payload on board the aircraft, while also delivering superior stability on the ground. Experts have also spotted what seems to be a foreign object debris FOD deflector attached to the wheel of the nose landing gear. This may seem like a minor addition, but it's an important one. Stealthy aircraft like the RQ-180 are typically fitted with special coatings.
Them wings look so small, don't like thin. Look really thin, I should say.
That absorb radar signals to make them much harder to detect. If those coatings suffer even the slightest scratch or scuff, they can suddenly become much less effective. And given the size and low-profile nature of the RQ-180's design, it will most likely sit quite low down when on the ground or just before taking off. So there's a higher than average risk of rocks and other bits of debris being kicked up and hitting the body of the drone as it leaves the runway, as well as when it makes its landings. The FOD deflector, therefore, is a helpful shield against the sort of small but meaningful damage that those little elements can cause. Now, continuing with the landing gear, we can also see a trailing link or trailing arm attached to the nose gear strut, which should help to soften the impact of the spy plane landing. Again, this is small, but it matters, as these drones are likely going to be extremely expensive to construct and maintain, so every little bit helps when it comes to minimizing damage and keeping the craft in peak condition.
Wish we could have seen it from the top. Well, maybe we'll see more of this now that it's... If this is what it is, if it is this drone and we're starting to see an image, maybe we'll start seeing more of it now up close. I think that would be really cool. I just want to see what it looks like from the top, and like it looks very dark because it's in the sky, but it might be white. It would be so interesting, wouldn't it?
The nose landing gear is also arranged in a two-wheel configuration, similar to what we've seen on the B-21 Raider bomber, albeit not quite as large.
Okay, it just looks like a B-21, doesn't it? Doesn't it look just like a B-21? And I guess the B-21 doesn't necessarily have that bow as much as, like, it's not as, like, the bow on that image from the top looked very, like, pointy at the bottom, whereas this looks like it comes down and it's flat on the bottom. I don't know. I think it might just be a B-21.
Meanwhile, the RQ-180's main landing gear also looks familiar, as it seems almost identical to that seen on F-15 fighter jets. This is not surprising, as it's quite a common practice within the aerospace world to borrow or reuse the same components from previous designs. What isn't broken doesn't need fixing after all, and that landing gear has proven itself on countless occasions during the long history of the F-15, so it should be a fine fit for the RQ-180 as its own operational life cycle continues. The use of the F-15 style landing gear also gives us a clue as to the RQ-180's maximum takeoff weight. The latest F-15EX variants have a top weight of 81,000 pounds, and if Northrop Grumman has opted to use similar gear here, it's possible that the RQ-180 could have a similar or even potentially higher maximum weight. At the same time, it's important to remember that this is a reconnaissance and surveillance plane. It's not intended to be used for bombing runs or firing missiles, and the lighter it is, the longer it'll be able to stay airborne and the further it'll be able to travel without using up all its fuel. With that said, the overall design of the RQ-180 has more than likely been created to keep the craft as light as possible.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess it kind of looks a bit different, doesn't it? It does look a bit different.
Maximizing its range, endurance, and in-air performance, with reported capacities of 14,000-mile, 22,000-kilometer range, 24-hour endurance, and a service ceiling of approximately 60,000 feet or 18,000 meters.
Christ.
The Greek pictures of the
Good
spy
God.
plane also show off its distinctive shape, which we've seen before, but has now been revealed in even greater detail. As mentioned, it bears much in common with the B-21 Raider and the B-2 Spirit, with a
Yeah.
flying wing form and ultra-clean smooth sculpting from tip to tail. It's believed that the drone's design would allow it to loiter at extreme altitudes, carrying out extensive recon and surveillance missions, and gathering reams of data to keep forces informed of enemy movements on the ground or in the air. Which leads us up to the biggest question: what has the RQ-180 been doing in Iran? Well, once again, there's been no official confirmation that it's even been used there, but the fact that one was spotted in Greece suggests that it's been part of the American and Israeli operation in the Middle East. From what we know about this aircraft, as well as what we know about the operation itself, it's certainly possible, and even likely that the RQ-180 could have been used for hunting down Iran's most advanced missile launchers. The country's military has been confirmed to possess highly mobile launch platforms, many of which have been carefully disguised to look very similar to civilian-style trucks when viewed from above. Some of them operate out of hardened or underground bases that even have special ports and openings, allowing missiles to be fired from within, and many move about the vast rugged landscapes of Iran, taking up strategic locations here and there
Are we going on a bit of a tangent here in the video, and we're moving away from the aircraft here, aren't we?
to launch their munitions before quickly fleeing the area and seeking shelter somewhere new.
Yeah.
These are some of the deadliest elements in the Iranian arsenal because of their mobility. It would be very difficult for many military forces to keep
So they're basically saying that this drone has the capacity to keep an eye on this stuff, really and truthfully, better than a lot of other things. And that's why it's probably in the sky. The truth is, the US military probably has shit all over Iran that we've never even heard of or seen before. You know?
track of their movements and know when and where they're going to suddenly strike next. But imagine you had an almost imperceptible, state-of-the-art unmanned aerial vehicle tens of thousands of feet overhead, constantly scanning the land with some of the best radar technology in the world, with enough fuel to carry out 24-hour sorties and no need for any onboard crew at all.
Yeah.
Such a plane would be invaluable in a situation like this in terms of providing that much-needed intelligence that America's and Israel's ground and air teams need to carry out their next bombing runs and missile strikes, wiping even more of Iran's defenses off the map before they even have a chance to use them. While other surveillance craft or drones would only be able to carry out brief sorties, or may even be spotted and eliminated by Iranian air defenses, the RQ-180 would be able to soar far higher and far more stealthily than anything else at the Air Force's disposal. Carrying out deep surveillance in denied airspace, with almost no risk of detection, it would give US forces the eyes in the skies they need on a round-the-clock basis.
Like I've said in the past, reconnaissance, information during a war is the most important thing. It's the most important thing. If you've got the most information, the chances are you're going to win. That's just the way that war works. Like, you need more information. So having these drones in the sky that can take all sorts of imagery and information and data from stuff that we've never had before, that keeps track of things that are actually moving, is invaluable.
And there's no telling what else it might be capable of.
True,
Some experts
true.
have suggested that the RQ-180 could be able to carry out electronic surveillance to gather ELINT data, for example, or maybe
ELINT?
equipped with electronic warfare technologies to disrupt or jam enemy communications. It might also serve as a high-altitude communications relay, a central data node,
True.
feeding a stream of real-time intel to other aircraft, like
Yeah, it could be part of that, what's it called, NGAD system that has data that just instantly gets moved from aircraft to aircraft and into boots on the ground, into vehicles, to ships, all sorts of places. This incredible, complicated system.
F-22s, F-35s, or other next-gen systems. There's still so much we don't know about this aircraft, but what we do know so far quite clearly suggests that it's about to usher in a whole new era for drone warfare.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the very few known drones stealthy enough to survive in contested or enemy airspace without detection. Its unique blend of stealth, endurance, and advanced surveillance technology makes it a formidable force, capable of collecting intelligence in places that would be simply too risky for manned aircraft to venture into. And this is only one of the next-gen futuristic weapons in use today with the US military. You
Yeah.
can learn about many others in this extensive video breakdown.
It does also make me wonder when we're going to get to a point where this tech gets so advanced that it's completely undetectable and we're not going to know what militaries are capable of anymore. Like, we're not going to be able to have these discussions about new aircrafts in the future because we just don't know where we're up to. Like, we know the US military has stuff right now that we've never seen before. But there'll be stuff coming out far in the future that we'll never know exists, ever, because it'll just be that good at its job. Unless you're in the military, you will know. It blows my mind. I'd love to know what you think about that in the comment section down below. What do you think the US is using in wartime scenarios right now? Let me know in the comments. I'll leave a link down below to the military show. Go check them out. Check out Chug, 10% off, link down below, and go buy yourself some morale if you haven't already. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.